Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Chad Silver, meteorologist Tim Buckley, and Jalen Gilkey today. Hey guys.
It's nice to have the chief with us, right? Tim, this is like a treat, right? For the 4 to 5.
Commander-in-Chief?
I got a challenge for you, though. You guys got to bring the good news because I don't have any today.
Oh.
It's just bad all around outside.
He seems so sad.
Well, it's almost Friday, if that helps.
That's true. Good job, Jalen.
Well, we're going to work on getting some more good news for everybody out there. But first, we got to focus on the big story of the day. And of course, that is the impeachment of former President Trump. House managers are expected to wrap up their arguments soon in former President Trump's impeachment trial. Today, they focused on Trump's words to the actions of the mob that attacked the Capitol on January 6th, using clips of the rioters' own words. Managers also argued the former president lacked remorse in the aftermath of the violence.
He will undoubtedly cause future harm if allowed, because he still refuses to account for his previous high-grade crime against our government.
Senators on both sides of the aisle have called the House manager's presentation both emotional and compelling.
So ultimately, the Senate will decide the fate of former President Trump. But what exactly is their role as the jury? Our Verify team takes a closer look for you.
During the trial, you've probably heard people say things like this.
Now, if I'm an impartial juror,
It's not fair or impartial.
Senators sworn in as impartial jurors. But what does this actually mean? You may remember back in the first impeachment trial, then Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell made waves when he said this.
I'm not an impartial juror.
So let's verify. Are senators supposed to be impartial during the impeachment trial? Here are sources. Robert Peck from the Center for Constitutional Litigation, Alan Lichtman, a professor of history at American University, and Gary Nordlinger, professor of politics at the George Washington University. We also look to the U.S. Constitution. Article 1, Section 3 reads in part, "The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath or affirmation."
will all senators now rise?
We saw that oath take place at the start of the trial, swearing to do impartial justice. So we can verify that in theory, yes, senators are meant to be impartial jurors. But our experts all agree that this is unrealistic, because in the end, this is a political process.
The Constitution assigned the task of impeachment solely to senators, and it was assumed by the founders that these would be political creatures, that they would have political biases, that they would have allegiances.
Our experts also pointed out that unlike jurors in a criminal case, senators cannot be dismissed from the trial if they're deemed biased. That means there's just no way to enforce impartiality.
They should be impartial. They're supposed to be impartial. But when you get down to politics, to quote a Supreme Court case, how do you take politics out of politics?
With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Now, some have wondered whether Trump can be barred from running for office again, even if he is not convicted by the Senate in this trial. The answer is yes. First, you need to know how it would happen if he is convicted. Well, it would take 2/3 of senators to convict, but then only a simple majority vote to bar him from running for office. Now, if the Senate does not convict, Democrats could rely on Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Section 3 basically says anyone who participates in an insurrection is ineligible for state or federal office. Now, this would require a majority vote in both the House and Senate, but does not require an impeachment conviction.
So what comes next in the impeachment trial? Well, starting tomorrow, Trump's team will begin to argue their case. And if their arguments aren't finished by tomorrow night, they will resume again on Sunday. And then starting on Monday, senators will be able to ask their own questions to the House impeachment managers and Trump's legal team. For the rest of next week, House managers will be able to call witnesses. Depending on how many they have, will determine when the Senate will move to their final vote.
Oh, it's here. You heard it. You felt it. The rain outside, but that thunder also kind of threw us for a little bit of a loop, didn't it? We're fine. There's not going to be anything bad that comes from that thunder. It's just surprising when it's wintertime, of course. A lot of rain out here right now. I'm about to step in a puddle. There you go. That's my puddle. We do have a lot of this water out here, and it's also really cold. Temperatures are currently in the 40s. Overnight, we'll be dropping into the 30s, which could create a couple of issues. Starting to taper off, though, in intensity. It's not the downpour that it was, a little bit more light and steady, moderate action right now. But looking back, we have a ways to go. This rain goes all the way back to Alabama, so we're not done with this until about 8 to 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Here's how it happens, and one thing we'll be watching is as these waves of rain push on through. Notice the temperature is cooling from north to south, so overnight tonight, we could could actually be near the freezing mark or even just below it. That should allow a period where we see some sleet mixing in and also some freezing rain. Now, most of us, if you're along or south of Interstate 40, I don't think you have an issue at all overnight tonight. But if you live north of 40, especially closer to the Virginia border, I wouldn't rule out a couple of slick spots, especially on your deck, the elevated surfaces, maybe bridges and overpasses. So generally for our ice forecast tonight, maybe a glaze in the Triad, but that's about the most that we should see. To the north, though, our northern counties, you could see up to 1/10 of an inch. Be cautious. Never can be too safe when it comes to ice. Unfortunately, that's not our only ice problem in the forecast. We'll talk about Saturday morning and beyond coming up.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. Dr. Anthony Fauci predicts we'll all be able to sign up for COVID-19 vaccinations by April. Fauci credits upcoming deliveries of the 2 approved vaccines, the potential approval of a third, and moves taken by the Biden administration to increase the nation's capacity. He cautioned it'll take several more months to logistically deliver those injections, but predicted herd immunity could be achieved by late summer. The CDC revealed new guidelines yesterday stating that wearing 2 masks is better than 1. The updated guidance follows new research which tested various masks in a lab setting and found that combining a cloth mask over a surgical mask could dramatically reduce both the spread of the virus to others and exposure to the virus yourself. No surprise here, a survey shows a year into the pandemic, many workers are anxious or depressed. Almost half of workers say they're experiencing mental health issues, including a majority of millennials and Gen Z employees. Some are worried about their job security during the pandemic, which has caused millions of layoffs. People who are working remotely might feel disconnected from their employers and colleagues while also feeling burned out. The number of people filing for jobless benefits last week fell for the 4th week in a row, suggesting layoffs are slowing down. 793,000 people applied for jobless benefits last week, 19,000 fewer than the week before. Now, before last March, unemployment filings hovered around 250,000 a week and never exceeded 700,000 a week, a record set in the 1982 recession. We'll be right back.
Bald eagle. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After almost 2 years of virtual learning,
After almost 2 years of virtual learning, anxiety is high among high school students, especially those who are applying to college. So a current Virginia Tech senior who's from Greensboro is trying her best to help ease some of those nerves. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey spoke with her about how a website she created will help students pursue higher education.
Jessica McDaniel has 2 months left until she graduates with a degree in biological systems engineering. Her internship was canceled last summer due to COVID, so she used that time to create an opportunity to help others succeed.
No matter what people say to you, whether they tell you like you can't do this or you shouldn't go to that school because it's too far, it's too, expensive, just tell them just to go ahead and chase your dreams if that's something you want to do.
Turning dreams into degrees. That's the mission for Jessica McDaniel.
On the website, I have both information for the parents and the students in hopes that it provides the, tools that they need to set their students up for success.
She took what looked like a door shut in her face and kicked it wide open for future generations.
Last summer over quarantine, my internship got canceled, so I was like, all right, what should I do now?
What she did was create a website to help educate high school students and their parents. DreamsToDegrees.com is designed to facilitate students with the proper information so they can apply and get into the college or university of their dream.
I never knew how to create a website. I just Googled it and figured it out.
And she's definitely figured it out.
Also, just be sure not to be discouraged by any teachers or counselors who may tell you otherwise, not to apply to this school or not to do this, because if you don't chase your dream, if you don't go after what you want, who will?
Well, in just 7 months, Jessica has helped over 150 students apply for college. If you are a student, if you know of a student that may need some help applying for college or just looking for scholarships, I've attached a link to her website in my web story on WFMYnews2.com.
That's awesome.
I love this, yeah, because sometimes you just need a little help, a little guidance one way or the other. I always appreciated my high school guidance counselors because they really knew what to do, right? They've been doing this for years, and sometimes you just need help navigating something you're not familiar with.
And I'm sure they are available right now, but you're not running into them in the hallway or being able to stop by their office like students were able to before they were doing remote learning. So, I mean, the time that kids are applying to college is in the fall and right now, so they really do need those resources.
And absolutely, that's what Jessica was saying. She was there. She created this website to try to fill that gap because virtual learning has taken a major toll on a lot of students. They're not getting that one-on-one FaceTime with their counselors and teachers. So she wants to be of help to help people achieve their dreams.
Sounds like she is. 150 students?
Right,
7 months.
It's crazy.
Incredible.
I'm glad I'm not applying to college. I don't know if I get in these days.
I'm glad I'm not in college or high school or any of that right now. I just feel so bad for all the students.
Yeah. So way to end on a downer there.
I know, right?
But the next block's going to be great, I promise.
High school sports is back.
Right.
There we
We'll be
go.
right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Certainly hope you're warm and cozy on the couch. Maybe a blanket, maybe some soup. It's just one of those days, and this is day one of several. We're going to be stuck with cold weather and wet weather here in the Triad. Let's go through it one day at a time. As far as today goes, notice we had temperatures very steady for a while. This is the case over the last day and a half. We were up at 48 degrees around lunchtime. Well, now we've fallen all the way down to 40. That's the beginning of some of that colder air that's set to arrive overnight tonight, and that's what could create some icy issues in parts of our area. Take a look here. We already have the 30s showing up in our northern counties, and it's these areas in particular that are going to have the best chance or the biggest risk of having some icy accumulations overnight tonight, and the same can be said for Saturday morning as well. We kind of have cold air trying to get here from both sides. Off here to the west, but off here to the north is what we call a backdoor cold front, when that cold air slides southward instead of coming in from the west. You can see the southeast doesn't fit in with the rest of the country right now. Arctic air still way up here, but it's even cold in Texas at the moment. Cold, of course, in the northeast, and well, it's 80 in Jacksonville, Florida. If we could get on a plane, that would sound pretty good, wouldn't it? All of this rain is moving in, and we're still on the order of about a half an inch more to maybe 3/4 of an inch more by tomorrow morning. So it will stay rain through about the midnight hour, but after that, after midnight, that's when we could start to see a mixing in with some sleet pellets or also some freezing rain if your temperature drops below 32. Now, the good news is most of us should stay right around 32, 33, maybe 31. That usually doesn't amount to much in the way of icy accumulations, but we'll be watching it. Bottom line, if you have to be out early tomorrow morning, especially if you live north of I-40, there could be some slick spots, mainly the bridges and overpasses, but I want you to be careful. Don't just go out and assume everything is fine. Take it easy, be cautious, and certainly turn on the Good Morning Show to get those latest reports here on WFMY. A light glaze is probably about all I could see for the Triad cities tomorrow morning, but farther to the north, maybe up to 1/10 of an inch, and that would mostly be on the elevated surfaces, but that's still something you want to take seriously for tonight. There's your planner. We'll start to warm above that freezing mark going into early tomorrow morning, and the rain will come to an end, at least briefly. The clouds will be with us, and then by Saturday morning, there's more rain, and that has actually a higher potential of accumulating as far as ice goes in our area. That's just a lot of systems coming our way, folks. System number one right now. System number two, Saturday morning, could have some iciness. Sunday, a bit of a break with highs in the 40s. And then system number three arrives Monday night into Tuesday. That too could have a freezing rain chance.
Once the Super Bowl is over, we're used to saying goodbye to football for a few months. But while Tom Brady and the Bucs are likely nursing a hangover after yesterday's boat parade, there's still football left to play. WFMY News 2's Sean Higgins talked to a Triad coach preparing for an unusual season.
Alabama won another national championship. Tom Brady won another Super Bowl. For college football and the NFL, this season was mostly business as usual. 45. Break up. But for high school football programs across the state, their seasons got turned upside down.
There's a whole lot of new.
Trent Lohman is the head coach of East Surrey High School, and he told me this unique season comes with some new challenges.
Having guys that are still playing basketball, trying to get work with both teams in, trying to be fair and making sure that they still have their best shot at the basketball games as possible and know what we're doing. That is our biggest challenge.
The cold weather won't bother his players, but Coach Lohman says spring rain could prove challenging.
It's not just wet for a little bit and then dry. You know, a day of rain might knock you off from practice field for 2 days.
The biggest change for his players will be the lack of fan support on Friday nights. And while you'll be able to stream the Cardinals games this season, the game day atmosphere just won't be the same.
Unless you've ever played in it, you don't understand what it's like to play in that and, you know, to run out before the game and to see that and to hear the band and, you know, so some of those really neat things that make high school football really neat are not going to be a part of it.
But Coach Lohman and his staff are stressing to their players to make the most out of this strange season.
As I've been challenging our guys, we need to have as much fun as we can have. We saw how quick it could get taken from you. Make sure that you're enjoying it, making sure you're making the most of it while you're here. And that's just something that we're echoing every day.
You know, honestly, I just really hope that they will get to actually play. We learned today that North Carolina A&T Aggies have now canceled their spring football season. And think about how many months and how much time they put into preparing for this spring football season and then just to not have it happen.
Yeah, and another challenge that coach is facing, they're replacing several Division I players from last year. So not only do you have to replace a majority of your offense, you got to shorten preseason, and now you've been moved to the spring. Don't even know if we're still going to play, still kind of in a gray area. Very tough.
I think it would be so odd to have to practice during the winter if you were so used to the dog days of summer and football training, and then to have your season start off cold and get gradually warmer. It's going to be quite the adjustment. But, you know, we wish them the best. I hope that there is a high school football season, and I hope that we can get everyone vaccinated really soon so we can have fans in the stands.
Right, and Jalen, you brought up a good point just while we were watching this story, that how do you pick which sport you're going to play in? Because, you know, if you're used to playing a fall sport and now it's moved to the spring, but you play a spring sport too, how do you choose which one to go for?
And then you got some guys that are still playing basketball, like Coach mentioned. So what if you played football, basketball, and baseball in your career? Now you got to figure out which one you're going to play for that semester.
I don't even know. I mean, is it even possible to even just overlap two sports and try to do both? I think that would be tough.
I think school districts and coaches are going to try their best to make as many accommodations for situations like that as possible.
In the meantime, pro-con lists.
Pros.
For the sports.
Pros we get to play. Like, that's the pro.
I mean, when you're trying to deciding, pro basketball is inside, con football is outside.
Right, and maybe you're better at one that you would have a better chance of maybe getting a scholarship or playing in college. So,
yeah.
Hate to see it for the boys, huh? And the girls as well.
All right, 4 to 5 is heading to break. Did you know that we're live on Facebook?
Right
now. Did you know?
Come talk to us. Come talk to
us. You
us.
get to see this
We're
shot
walking
right
it. Look,
here.
I'm going to get my phone ready.
Here we go. We're typing. Hello, Facebook.
She's typing.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5. If you like aliens, you'll like this story. Now is your chance to live next to Area 51. A ranch that is right next to the famous military base is now up for sale for the cheap price of $4.5 million. The ranch was given special permission by the military to tend to cattle on the military's land as long as the owners of the ranch let them know ahead of time. The ranch is also home to some famous stories about Area 51, where tourists and believers in UFOs have been flocking for years. I don't want that ranch. The idea of life that is not on planet Earth is really creepy to me.
Y'all not gonna like me for this one. I'm not a fan of aliens. I don't really believe in them. I don't know.
That's okay.
It's just a thing.
Why would we not like you for that?
I don't know. I just feel like I feel
Everybody's
like Chad,
entitled to their
buzzkill.
own opinion.
Absolutely. That's what the 4 to 5 is all about, right?
All right,
Right.
well, that's fine.
I don't really know where I stand on Area 51. I like the idea that there could be something fishy happening there, and we just don't know what it is.
You know, I like that too. There is something weird going on.
Is there?
I don't know if it's aliens, but there's something weird going on.
That man in the alien head that
It's
just walked
always
by?
some weird stuff going on, man.
Right.
But let's just think about
Random mailbox?
a year and a half ago when our biggest concern was, are people going to rush into Area 51?
I miss those times
Yeah,
when
that-
that was
that
our
was
biggest
nice.
Same
concern.
time, people were going crazy for the chicken sandwiches.
Goodness
Normal
gracious.
Time, normal times.
So since we're going down that path, I saw yesterday that Popeyes is coming out with a fish sandwich in time for Lent.
I do like a fish
And so
sandwich.
here's what I'm gonna do.
Oh boy.
Go, Chad.
I am going to have a fish sandwich taste test from all the places that have fish sandwiches.
I know you love the Bojangler.
I do like the Bojangler, but I prefer, if I had to pick one, I would prefer the one at Arby's so far. But Popeyes, you know, they throw in something special every time.
Something special.
When they're trying to compete.
The only way I think I can get us back to what we were originally talking about is by saying that the fish sandwich is out of this world. But I feel like that is a stretch.
No, you making
it's
it work.
pretty good.
You making it work. I like that.
Tap dancing.
Yep.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Going to break.
We're gonna go to
Be
break.
right back.
We're gonna come back. I promise.
Filet-O-Fish.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. I'm trying to stick it somewhere else and like in the back of my dress, and I don't know if that's gonna work. And
Good afternoon to you. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Chad Silver, Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley in the rain, and Jalen Gilkey.
Hey, hey.
So we brought some good news the last half an hour, a little bit of good news. Tim, what did you think?
I heard a duck. Was that like a duck quacking at one point?
Listen, let me just, I have to talk about this now.
This is a soapbox. Are you ready?
During the
Mama
breaks,
Maddie.
when we are live on Facebook, our director Brad plays various sound effects. Today we've had ducks, we've had a bald eagle. I believe we've had some other animals thrown in there, and it throws me off every time.
She doesn't like it. I think she gets scared. She does not a big animal lover.
It's great weather for a duck.
Animals.
Duck weather.
If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck,
I'm done. See you guys.
Then it's an eagle.
it's a bald eagle.
But you got to tell him Brad's nickname is the Bald Eagle. That's why he plays
it. In conclusion, if you are into sound effects and chatting on Facebook, we are there for you. You can find us right now live on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page.
And if you are looking to be a meteorologist, we have an opening here. So
quack, quack, quack.
An actual opening.
The weather duck in the weather garden.
All right. Well, we do have a lot of news to cover today, so let's get right to it. You know, more people will soon be able to get the COVID-19 vaccine as appointments for Group 3 open in North Carolina. And with that comes the push to get every person and every demographic vaccinated. Governor Roy Cooper told me it is a focus for the state. And while he is pleased with the vaccine rollout so far, there's work to be done.
We need to do better with equity and underserved communities. But that's something that every state is dealing with right now. The good thing about North Carolina is we're one of the few states in the country that's looking at how this vaccine has been given out and what's the race and gender of the people who are getting it. And we have it even down to a county level, is the demographics of who are getting the vaccine.
So let's take a look at the data that the governor is talking about from the state. You can see here it shows that about 1.5 million doses have been given out. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at how that breaks down. Most of the recipients have been white, 79%. 14% of the people who have gotten the vaccine are Black or African American, and just more than 2% are Asian or Pacific Islander. By age, you can see the majority of those vaccinated are older than 65, the bottom two bars there. And by gender, more women are getting the shot. Nearly 60% of recipients are female and nearly 40% are male.
You've got to see the encouraging dip one of our state's coronavirus metrics took today. This graph shows the percentage of tests coming back positive. The latest number, 5.9%. We haven't seen a percentage this low since early November. And you can see how close we are getting to our line, with the red line, which is the state's goal of 5%. I know it's just one day, but it's encouraging, especially considering we have been much higher than that over the past couple of months.
New tonight, the MEAC conference says they will cancel their spring football season. It was scheduled to start later this month. So 6 of the MEAC's 9 football schools, including North Carolina A&T, decided to opt out of the spring season, and the conference suspended the season. North Carolina A&T and the MEAC plan to be back in action this fall.
If you're like me, you miss the ability to travel, to see friends or family, but with vaccinations increasing, we could be traveling soon. Just be prepared to prove you've had the vaccine. Companies are already developing vaccination passports. It could be required to go on a cruise or board a plane as soon as July. You know, I'm actually all for the idea of proving that you've had the vaccine. I'm just concerned that they're going to start requiring it before everybody is able to get the vaccine.
I don't like this. I think that everyone should get the vaccine. First and foremost, I will be getting the vaccine as soon as it is my turn. But the idea of having to prove that to a private company or even to just travel on an airplane, I think that's crossing the line.
Well,
Jalen,
I'm gonna be honest. I'm in favor of it. We saw on cruise ships when this kind of all kicked off that was a major spreader, and I know that when holiday times come around, that's another time when people are traveling a lot, and we've seen several booms and several peaks. So I know it's kind of tough, and everybody's entitled to their own personal opinion, but I do agree that some type of proof of vaccination should be required for the safety of everyone else.
I think my main problem with it is we still don't know if getting the vaccine prevents you from spreading the virus to other people. We know it can prevent you from getting really sick from the virus right now, and it's proven to be 95% effective in that sense. But just because I get the vaccine, it doesn't mean that I can give the virus to you, Chad, if we're sitting next to each other on an airplane.
Something else to consider too, to your side, is that there are a lot of people who refuse to take a vaccine because of a religious exemption. So being required to do that just kind of as a blanket requirement could be tough, and it definitely, I am sure that the courts will get involved if that's something that will be required.
We'll keep you updated.
We've got a lot of stuff going on here today, so let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Walmart and Sam's Club stores are joining the vaccine race and will start vaccinating tomorrow at more than 1,000 pharmacies in 22 states. It's important to note here, our state is not one of them, but you could go to a different state. The company says it'll focus attention on locations in underserved areas. Walmart hopes to deliver nearly 13 million vaccine doses every month. Some scientists are worried that one round of shots might not be enough to fully protect people if the virus continues to mutate. Studies at UNC show current vaccines are not as effective against the South African strain, but it does offer some protection. Because they don't know for sure how much protection their vaccines will offer, vaccine makers are studying whether they can make their shots more effective against the variants. They're looking at potentially adding a third shot of the same vaccine. With tax season starting tomorrow, millions of Americans could be in for a shock, owing taxes on unemployment benefits they received last year. The federal government and most states consider jobless aid taxable income. But unlike a paycheck, taxes typically aren't automatically deducted from such benefits, with the IRS expecting its cut. Goldman Sachs estimates people could end up owing as much as $50 billion overall in taxes on unemployment they got last year.
All right, a little update on the weather situation for you. Of course, it's a cold rain that we're seeing today. Has come down hard at times, and we still have a ways to go with this particular event. We have multiple events over the next week here in the Triad. We'll call this system number 1. This is going to continue through tonight into early tomorrow morning. Notice, of course, we have overcast conditions, but I will say the rain is a little lighter now than it was at times earlier this afternoon. The heaviest action has pushed off closer to the Raleigh area in places like Fayetteville at this time, and that's where the thunder and lightning is too. Maybe you heard some of that. Part of the reason it was so loud today is we're so cold near the surface. Those sound waves from the thunder, they can get trapped and bounce back and forth right here closer to the ground. Makes for louder thunder, makes for longer lasting thunder as well. But at the moment, I'm encouraged by the radar. We're seeing lighter returns back here out to the west. We'll keep an eye on that as we go into the next couple of hours, but don't be fooled. This rain is not leaving us anytime soon. It still continues all the way back to Tennessee and Alabama. So let's walk you through hour by hour. Through the evening tonight, we're all dropping into the 30s. The problem that happens tonight is we do get close to that freezing mark. So there's likely to be a period of sleet and freezing rain, mainly between 1 in the morning and 9 in the morning. That could leave some slick spots on elevated surfaces like bridges and overpasses, mainly in the northern Piedmont, north of I-40. Please be careful tomorrow morning. You can never be too careful. There's that duck again. We do have that glaze of ice as a possibility here in the Triad, and it could get a little heavier than that up near the Virginia border. Not a major ice event, but it is something you'll want to be careful of to be safe tomorrow morning.
Ah, yes, it is time for hearts and sweets and love notes and all kinds of things, right, Tanya?
Okay, but what I want to know is, what does XOXO mean? Because we recognize these other things, but that right there, what do you think?
I have no idea, and I thought it meant hugs and kisses.
Okay, and you are right.
Oh.
It does mean hugs and kisses, but 2 wants to know, how did XOXO get mixed up in love? Well, let's take a look. According to the Washington Post, people used an X as a symbol to sign off on documents. After marking the X, the writer would often kiss the mark as a sign of their oath. As the gesture grew among kings and commoners to certify everything from books to letters and paperwork, these records were described as having been sealed with a kiss. 2 Wants to Know looks at the history of why we send love on Valentine's Day.
Written valentines didn't appear until after 1400. The oldest valentine, still in existence by the way, was written in 1415 by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London. In addition to the United States, Valentine's Day is celebrated in Canada, Mexico, France, Australia, Denmark, Italy, and the United Kingdom. And you can thank a Brit for the traditional box of chocolates. The first Valentine's Day box of chocolates was introduced by Richard Cadbury in 1868.
And speaking of a box of chocolates, mine says, "You're magical." All right, let me brag on Chad because you bought sweets for all of us.
So I work with enough women to know that the way to their heart sometimes is through sweets.
Yes,
And
sometimes.
Sometimes.
Smart man.
And so I made sure you have to buy enough for the whole class.
You
so
do.
I went to the Harris Teeter and scooped up all of these boxes.
Chad from WFMY must really like chocolate. I saw him in the grocery store.
And that's so sweet.
Oh, Chad.
Are you
Chad.
impressed that I used the correct form of your?
Yes.
You are. Magical.
You are magical. You're magical too.
The one I gave to Chilton yesterday said, "I heart your face." And what did you say?
Call me on my shell phone.
And it was a mermaid.
Nice. I like it.
He's so funny.
A few little fun facts for the sweet day.
And you've got your red on there. Tomorrow's the day you got to wear red, right?
Oh, I was about to say.
Your red dress.
But don't Chad and I look like Valentine's today?
You do.
Unplanned.
Very sweet.
I'm so upset I forgot my pocket square. There's a pocket square that goes with this.
Well, tomorrow.
I've got a different outfit
Oh
ready
my
to
gosh,
go for tomorrow.
the man.
He's dressing up like
Just
Cupid.
saying.
Tune in to see it.
Yep,
All
and
right.
wings and everything.
We'll be right back.
No.
Fly away, little Chad. Cupid Chad.
Go to break. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Go.
So if you're on our Facebook page right now, people are asking Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley if it's going to snow soon. And it doesn't look good for the Triad anytime soon, but snow lovers up north are taking advantage of what they're seeing and using their creativity to show it off. Our sister station in Indiana took a look at one artist who is using the snow to take us to a galaxy far, far away.
The galaxy is Greenfield, State Street and Forest Avenue. where Grogu, Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian, is the latest creation of the snow artist, Rick Horton.
It just so happens I live on a very busy road, so these are getting a lot of attention.
Like that?
Yeah.
Once a winter, Rick waits for the right weather and makes a snow masterpiece. He started with a bust of Homer Simpson in 1997. He's most proud of the 2 bald eagles 2 years ago and the rattlesnake from 2010. He asked for ideas this year and picked Grogu after much indoor preparation.
I knew this had to look as close as possible, so I did a lot of research. I even sculpted one out of clay so I would have something to go by.
Rick hit the perfect weather this year. A snowfall followed by a cold snap. Grogu is still frozen after more than a week. Rick's snow creations usually don't last that long. But the force is with 5-foot Grogu, who took 7 hours to build on January 31st. The face and the ears created the biggest challenge.
The reward is all the people that come by and see it and smile and come by and forget about everything else, and seeing the kids out here just in awe. I knew people would like it. I had no idea they'd like it as much as they do. Just amazing.
Rick has made amazing snow sculptures for more than 20 years now. He admits to already feeling the heat for what's next, even before Grogu melts away.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I'm glad they said that the ears were the hardest part because I was trying to figure out what they're made out of. Do you think he used another material than snow and ice or just packed it really tight?
I have no idea. We're going to go to our expert snowologist.
Yeah, it's you.
Styrofoam.
You think styrofoam?
He used styrofoam. That was more of a guess, though. I have no idea. But
what is he painting with? Spray paint?
Probably.
Chad, do you know exactly how he made this? Can
No,
you please tell us?
but I do know that he used snow.
That's a great start.
Good job.
So I don't know about you guys. I have never seen The Mandalorian. I know nothing about Baby Yoda. But I think he's sure darn cute. If it's even a he.
I don't know that it has a gender.
Keep moving.
Anyway, my sister's obsessed with this thing, and so I bought her like a 50-pack of Baby Yoda temporary tattoos, and I thought she was going to die. She was so happy.
Did she put them all on at one time?
At one time.
Yeah,
wow.
That's
and
how
she's
I
pretty
would
short,
do
so it was condensed.
No, I think it's really impressive, and honestly, he has the perfect spot in the neighborhood to do it. It looked like he had somewhat of a corner lot there and a big yard area to build those snow creations. I've built maybe 2 snowmen in my life.
Wow.
And I could never.
How many snow angels, though?
Oh, I don't
Zero.
actually like to be in the snow, so I can maybe 2 as well.
I don't know if y'all saw, but the real quick flash frame they had of the Minions, it was like 20 Minions out there from Despicable Me. I know my mom loved that. That's probably one of her favorite movies.
See, probably my favorite was Falcor from The Neverending Story. You guys are way too young to remember that.
I don't know
but,
that one.
that big flying dog from the movie Neverending Story. Falcor.
Real quick, this guy's been making these snow art almost as long as Maddie and I have been alive. So there we go.
Don't be talking about my age.
I'm just saying. We're close to the same age. I'm just saying. I didn't say who's
Chad,
older.
will you
Touching
teach
that
him?
with a
Will you teach him?
5-foot pole. What?
It better be 6 foot. We're in a pandemic.
Oh, that's true.
There
10
you go.
feet,
10
feet
feet
apart.
pole,
Stay over
triangle.
There. Stay over
I would
there.
like to get away
Equilateral
from both of
triangle.
you.
We'll be right
Going
back.
to break.
Stay over there. Have you heard of a vaccine bubble? As vaccines roll out to more people, some are forming what they're calling vaccine or immunity bubbles. But some doctors are recommending against this idea. Let's connect the dots.
You may have heard the terms vaccine bubbles or immunity bubbles being tossed around. It's where people who have had the COVID vaccine form their own group since they're all protected. But Dr. Michael Kinch from Washington University says that is not a good idea. He says the reason is twofold. First, he says, we just don't know yet if the vaccination will knock down your ability to spread the virus to others. And even if it does, there could be a window between after you encounter the virus and before your dose kicks in, and you could take that virus back to someone who isn't vaccinated and infect them. And Dr. Kent says it can take a while for the vaccine to start working after you get it. The other factor? You might think you're safe in a bubble, but you can still pick up the virus while simply running an errand, like going to the grocery store. So achieving the perfect bubble is next to impossible. Until we can all get together safely again, mask up, keep your distance, and wash your hands.
I'm ashamed that I can't go in a vaccine bubble, right? Because I think I just want the safety net, right?
Yes.
And, you know, of course, then you hear the science and they're like, well, it's not a good idea.
Well, we're all craving a sense of normalcy, and we've been told for 10 months that the vaccine is going to help us do that. So everyone's really eager to get it. And then we're slow to get those doses out because the demand is greater than the supply. So I think there's some frustration. I cannot wait until we can get back to the way it was.
Just keep washing your hands and make sure you're wearing your masks. That's all I got for this on this.
The 3 W's.
Yeah, wash your hands, wear your mask. And I don't know what the other one is.
Wait 5 feet.
But stay away from me. Stay away from me.
5 or 6 feet.
I need 50.
But no, we have to give factual information.
You're right. I'm sorry.
6 feet.
Make it 10.
Tim's got some facts, right, Tim?
Tim's full of facts.
All facts. All bad facts, all wet facts. But we got the facts here. And the fact of the matter is, it's cold, it's wet, and it's not stopping anytime soon. That's what we have for you. That chilly rain overspreading the Carolinas at this time. We're going to see that continue really through the overnight hours. And of course, the highlight here and maybe the concern is that overnight tonight, as we see temperatures going down right there closer to the freezing mark, it's possible at least that we could get below freezing for a couple of hours. That would introduce the potential of some icy mix, and the best chance of getting a glaze of ice where you live for tonight is in that Virginia border area from Stokes to Rockingham, Caswell counties. In the Triad, can't completely rule out an icy glaze or a few slick spots, but most of us should not have any major issues. That's just the first system, though. System number 2, that's coming up tomorrow night into Saturday morning. That, to me, looks to have a better chance of putting down a glaze across the entire Triad.
Guys, I bought a mini mic today for my TikToks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1.
Hi, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana.
Hi there. TikToks look like a lot of extra work.